every interview that's come out about the Rings of Power has only made it sound more questionable. The actors were all told diversity is key with the series. The story is for modern audiences. This show is only inspired by Tolkien's work and not actually an accurate retelling of it. And now one of the actresses who plays a new original character is saying her character is an activist. She said the casting isn't tokenization, even though Amazon's diversity and inclusion quota says otherwise. Ismael Cruz Cordova is blowing up the narratives Prime Video wants to push, and these actors are really hurting Amazon's image with all of their claims. I have a bunch of different things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So starting with this Bounding Into Comics article, it says the Rings of Power actress says her character is an activist and credits Prime Video writers for giving female characters agency. She appeared at San Diego Comic-Con at the end of July, where she said, "What I love about the writers on this show is that they have given every woman on the show, every female character, such agency. We don't serve the men around us. We have a storyline and our own right." While yes, in Lord of the Rings, there are females whose stories have men at the center, that doesn't mean they matter less, and even the ones with men that are important to their story, that doesn't mean they didn't have good details or deep meanings of their own. Look at Arwen. While yes, she was a love interest and had a romance, she still had a very deep story of her own. Eowyn, Galadriel, all of these females are extremely important, and this actress is making it sound like the writers of the other Lord of the Rings projects haven't had females at the center of what they've written, like the females were just throwaway characters, which of course is the farthest thing from the truth. She also goes on to say, for Bronwyn, which is her character, the new character that she plays, may I add, she is a healer, but she taps into her inner lioness, and I, as an activist, as a longtime human rights activist from my home, I tapped into what I believe women are doing for my homeland. The actress then provided more details about her character. She said, "I think what I can tell you is that she's a healer. She's from the Southlands. Her ancestors chose evil over good, and they are being forced to redeem themselves and prove themselves that they can be trusted. And her journey, that journey for her comes through finding her inner lioness and strength and resilience. And also, she's a single mother of a rebellious teenage son in a forbidden romance with an elf." So there's a lot going on for this character. Now, of course, I do not really like this storyline idea, primarily because this forbidden romance with an elf never existed in Tolkien's work, because these are brand new characters. So right now, I'm feeling very skeptical about this. Maybe this character will end up being great. It doesn't sound like it, though. I'm not watching the Rings of Power to watch activist characters and forbidden romances. It just sounds like it's going to be the focus of her storyline, and it's not going to be great. But she further explained, well, she's in that trio, isn't she? Her son, and then of course, Ismael Cruz Cordova plays the love interest. We're in this forbidden romance together, so that's the trio that my world really is in. And of course, this is another actor who has made questionable comments before. This is recent as well. The actor blows up Prime Video's representation narrative. We have seen through all of these interviews that these actors are told to highlight one thing when they're talking to the media, and that's representation, representation, representation. That's all they have gone on about. They're not actually giving us good details about their characters. No, they're trying to highlight why their characters are important to the focus of this story, which is, of course, representation. It says the Rings of Power have been pushing the representation narrative for a couple of years. Back in 2020, the showrunners issued a joint statement about the show. The world that Tolkien created is epic, diverse, and filled with heart. These extraordinarily talented performers hailing from across the globe represent the culmination of a multi-year search to find brilliant and unique artists to bring that world to life anew. The show's executive producer, Lindsay Weber, told Vanity Fair in February, "It felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like. Tolkien's for everyone. His stories are about his fictional races doing their best work when they leave the isolation of their own cultures and come together." And of course, we actually have seen these people backtrack a little bit, saying, well, we're just trying to keep it as accurate to the source material as possible, even though we know that is a lie, because they have made statements like this countless times. In a recent interview, though, he detailed with Entertainment Weekly that he wanted to be an elf since I was a little kid. In fact, EW detailed that he recalled pretending to be an elf and using an imaginary bow. Despite him revealing that you don't need to have characters that look exactly like you to use your imagination to be like them, he would try and return back to that narrative, saying, "That was something I really dreamt about, but on the flip side, it was something that was a little painful because there weren't elves that looked like me. It became a personal but distant dream up until the moment where this opportunity opened up, so I ferociously went for it." Now, obviously, I am not someone who has a problem with inclusivity and seeing different types of people in entertainment. I have no problems with seeing anyone be represented. But in the Rings of Power, it doesn't make a lot of sense because, of course, Tolkien's work is based off of European folklore. So this doesn't make sense to the world that he was trying to describe and the characters that he was trying to describe. And then we've seen articles like this released. The Rings of Power actress says casting isn't tokenization. Amazon's diversity and inclusion quota says otherwise. We are seeing all of these actors come out and push this narrative that, of course, Prime Video wants them to push. And in my opinion, it's really only ruining the image that the Rings of Power has. Unfortunately, these are not people who are coming out talking about the story, the way that it calls back to the lore and the source material. They're not talking about how amazing the experience is on set, where these are the only things that they are talking about in interviews. And in my opinion, it just doesn't look good for this project at this point. Of course, we've seen on social media, all of these videos, all of these trailers get absolutely ratioed. People are not impressed with the product that we've seen so far, and we are less than a month away from this show releasing, and people are not feeling excited at this point. Their promotional material has been an absolute disaster so far, and of course, I'm sure that they are not slowing down with it. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed and found this important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.